New York City will be holding a ticker tape parade for the United States women's soccer team following their 2-0 World Cup victory over the Netherlands Sunday. But amid the celebrations, there's still a big question about money.
Yeah, it's a lingering question. Joining us on the KOGO News Live line, San Diego State University business ethics lecturer and attorney Wendy Patrick. Good morning, Wendy.
Good morning, Ted and LaDona.
So by one estimate, the women have earned $90,000 each in World Cup bonuses. So that seems like a lot of money. But the men would have earned $550,000 per person. This seems largish, gap-wise.
Yes, no, it certainly does, LaDona and Ted. And this is one of the reasons we're talking about it. You know, with this women's team, their popularity has given them a platform to really shine a spotlight on an age-old problem. It's true over the years we've made inroads, but in leveling the playing field, these women are basically drawing attention to an issue that has existed for years, and they're seeking to break the cycle. You know, the points they've scored during these tournaments, they really are points for working women across the board in every profession, in every industry. And by looking at those numbers, one of the things that the league, that the U.S. Soccer has consistently tried to do is to explain that those numbers are not based on gender. They try to explain it's based on market forces. It's not equal pay for equal work because it's not equal work. But all of those arguments are falling by the wayside in light of how powerful and how prominent and how successful this women's team has been.
Well, that's a very good point. So the people who are saying, well, they're getting paid less basically because they don't have as many fans or as many viewers, is that what they're kind of saying?
Well, that would have been the argument several years ago before the women's team really took off. But it's more complicated than that, Ted and LaDona. And I'll tell you, the amount of time I put into this, the complication and the complexity goes beyond simple pay structures. It has to do with bonuses, with viewership, as you point out, with sponsors, with those market forces over time. The U.S. Soccer, they are basically fighting back. At least they filed a response to the lawsuit, of course, that was filed in March. And it's going to have to really play out in a courtroom instead of on the playing field to determine how can they back up these claims that pay structure is fair. Remember, even the men's team is in favor of the women getting equal pay.
So, you know, and this is interesting to me because we were talking to a marketing guy earlier about the Nike Colin Kaepernick thing. And he was saying that you have that voice. Kaepernick has that voice and is using it to affect change. Well, aren't the women doing basically the same thing? And could they just shame U.S. Soccer into paying them?
Well, if U.S. Soccer hasn't been shamed over the last couple of years with the success, I mean, remember what the chant was yesterday after they won, USA equal pay. I mean, that has got to carry lots of weight straight from the playing field into the courtroom. It really does. But also remember, speaking of market forces, it is true that we can't shame somebody into leveling the playing field pay-wise, but you really can use that dynamic as part of the argument that they are bringing in the sponsors, the money, the revenue, all of the traditional forces that were historically used to justify paying men more.
So there's a lawsuit brought by the 28 players alleging gender discrimination. What's likely to happen here?
Well, the U.S. Soccer has to prove that whatever disparity exists is not based on gender. And that's really the sticking point. It's not an issue of, are they getting paid less? Obviously they are. Nobody disputes that. But why? That is going to be the question that's addressed in court. Why are they paid so much less? How is that going to have to change? And how is U.S. Soccer justifying that disparate pay structure? And those answers to those questions is what's going to happen in a courtroom. But I have to tell you, I think the outcome of this lawsuit is going to be very different today than had it been litigated 5-10 years ago. It's true, they're seeking to break the cycle. This problem has always existed. Yes, there have been inroads made over the last couple of years, but we're not there yet. And what everybody's waiting to see is if this team, this success, this championship really makes a difference in this litigation.
Well, it's not the first of their wins, so we'll have to wait and see. Thank you so much, Wendy.
Thank you, Wendy.